I knew something was going to happen. I knew wherever I threw it, there was going to be an issue. For God's sake. Oh my God. This is not going well.
What is up with us today?
So easily, like so soon.
Yeah.
Like, that just wasn't.
We just watched it happen as well.
So just want to give a little bit of a disclaimer before we get into this video and a bit of a trigger warning. We are going to be discussing online sexual abuse, and we are also going to be discussing this topic with regards to children. So if that is something that is going to upset you, feel free to click out of this video. Feel no pressure to watch at all. Look after yourself, and hopefully we will see you in another video very soon. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Clitical Thinking Podcast. And if you're watching this around Christmas time, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas,
Merry
guys.
Christmas.
We're your hosts, Georgie
And Aimee. And today we're going to be talking about nudes. We're going to be talking about the history of the nude, the culture, the risks, the social perspective, of course consent, and also what it really means to share your body digitally.
Because we're living in the digital age, and I feel like nudes are a pretty hot topic at the minute. I mean,
Pretty hot topic.
the first thing I think about when someone brings up nudes is definitely the unsolicited dick pics on Snapchat.
All I think about is Snapchat.
Yeah.
Like, to
Snapchat
me,
nudes.
Snapchat is just nudes.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, like, Snapchat is not for nudes and all that, but I don't know.
Unfortunately, it just is used for nudes a lot of the
yeah,
time.
in my head, if anyone mentions nudes, I'm automatically assuming that you've, like, snapped a dick pic and
Yeah.
sent it to someone on Snapchat.
That didn't
Or,
want
like,
it.
yeah, and I always think about the fact that, like, most of the time these pics are so unsolicited. Like,
Yeah,
just
you
a
just-
random dick pic one day
Yeah,
in
you
your...
just add someone and then suddenly...
Yeah, like, you add someone back
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, Willie.
Willie, hello.
Hello. Good topic of conversation, I guess. Like,
Yeah,
thanks for
nice to
starting
meet you too.
on a good note.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like all I think of as well when I think of nudes. I just think of like Snapchat dick pics.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's fun. But actually, Snapchat, of course, did not invent the dick pic.
No.
Contrary to popular belief. Nudes have actually been around for thousands of years. Obviously, we
Thousands
see
of
this in
years.
like art, in like museums, everything, and statues. And actually, the first nude statue actually dates back to somewhere between 28,000 and 25,000 BC, and it's called Venus of Willendorf. It's like a little statuette, and it's nude, and obviously, and this is literally like prehistoric. This is so old.
So old.
And we don't know whether this was created as like a form of pornography, whether this was created as like just a piece of art.
So Snapchat did
yeah.
not
Invent
coin the nude.
the nude.
No.
No, they did not.
No, they did not.
So that's really interesting.
Yeah. In ancient Greece, there were many statues made of gods depicted naked to show off the perfect form of a body. And of course, the Romans adopted this Greek tradition as well of heroic nudity. And most of this naked art is to idealize the perfect heroic or godlike form as a human. So the Romans had loads of various nude paintings, which were forms of erotica. So I also think this is quite interesting to link back to today, because when we want to take a nude or send a cheeky photo, we want to be looking our best, you
We
know?
want to look perfect.
We want to look perfect. We want to
And-
have the teeniest waist gone.
Massive willy.
Yeah, massive bum.
Massive bum, massive boobs, like curves. We want
Yeah.
to look perfect, right?
So like history
And,
just hasn't
yeah.
really changed that much in terms of...
Back in ancient Greece,
Yeah.
they're making these statues to look perfect, and they most of the time they made statues of gods, like the Greek gods or the Roman gods, because obviously the god was seen as like the perfect human form. So obviously then people themselves were thinking,
I need to
I want to look like that god. I want to look heroic. If I'm like, and it was especially to do with like men. A lot of like male nude gods were depicted through sculptures, and obviously that sort of like is similar today in the sense of, oh, this god that you see has quite a large appendage, or they've got abs and they're really muscly. So it's like, Roman men, why are you not looking buff?
Yeah,
like, why don't you look like this god? And that's like, I really feel like that is literally still going on today.
Yeah,
with how we view our
definitely.
bodies, and we have to look perfect.
And face tuning and
Yeah.
everything as well.
Like the Romans knew what was going to be going down in 2025.
The Romans knew.
They predicted this.
Romely fans.
Romely fans, guys. Yeah, Romely fans. In fact, talking about Romely fans, Pompeii Crazy. Oh my gosh, so much Roman erotica was found in Pompeii. There were excavations in the 18th century, massive extensive archaeological excavations, and so much erotica was found that
They loved a bit of porn.
They loved it. This was like paintings that they found. There were like paintings on the walls of like brothels, for example, statues. And this erotica that was found was actually locked away from the public for 200 years after it was found, because people at the time in the 18th century were like, oh, this is inappropriate.
Yeah,
we can't show
We've got to lock this
the
away.
public this.
We've got to lock this down.
Lock
this down.
Which I find really interesting, that in like a time that was technically, well, yeah, it was slightly more modern, a lot more modern than the Roman era. The Romans are kind of chill with it, or in Pompeii they're chill with it. And then in like the 18th century, people are like, oh, hold up.
Too much.
That's not okay.
No.
But I think it also is important to note that the Romans, because of Christianity, were a lot more conservative than the Greeks, for example. And the Romans were quite like strict on nudity, like public nudity was not really allowed. And a lot of the time it was only really gods or men who were shown nude. Women were still very much like covered.
Or in that classic pose.
The pudica pose, yeah. So you've got like the hand here, hand like covering the vagina. So they're nude, but like the sort of like important areas are like covered.
Covered slightly.
Yeah, which is quite interesting.
But then men are there full on package out. Willy on show.
Package on display.
Majorly. Even maybe like a willy extension in the statues.
Do you know what? There were a few. There's this one painting I found. Oh my god, we will find the name of it and we will link it down below. But when I was doing research, I found this one painting of some Roman guy.
Right.
His penis was like, it was like him in the corner, Willy, across the whole page. I'm going to link this down when I find it. Oh my god. It was just like gigantic Willy, just gigantic like Willy spilling off the page.
So and it unrealistic.
Was thick. Like, it wasn't thin. It wasn't pencil.
It was girthy.
It was just the biggest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Had a bit of girth to it.
A lot of girth and a lot of length. But yeah, on that note, Pompeii loved a bit of explicit graffiti on the wall of the brothel.
Yeah.
Pompeii and Roman fans go hand in hand.
And
oh my gosh, the least intellectual way we could ever have put this, by the way, guys. But yeah, Roman fans.
But back in ancient times, nudes were also symbols of fertility. So they were also seen really positively. And they loved a phallus, as we said before, with the huge willy taking up the whole screen.
Phalluses were actually seen as a protector against evil.
Oh my god!
In the Roman times,
so
and they were put in gardens.
Yeah.
Because people thought that it would help plants to grow.
Oh, and their crops and stuff.
So there would be just like a model of a phallus, just like in a garden, so that like plants would grow.
Yeah.
Which again, kind of crazy. And I was in this reminds me, when I was in Thailand, I went to this one cave on the beach, and so I'm walking along the beach. It was Rayleigh Beach in Krabi. Yeah, and I was walking along the beach and I looked down and there's just like a dick carving in some wood, and I'm thinking, that's interesting. There's another one sticking up out of the sand, and I'm like,
okay,
there's another one, it's getting larger. And I'm just walking down the beach.
They're getting bigger as you walk
and there's
along.
just more carvings of penises just like everywhere, and I'm thinking, what is going on here?
Yeah,
like, this is so unusual.
I need some context,
please. Sticking up out the sand, all different sizes. You've got some which must be about 7 foot tall, others that are like an inch, like teeny ones,
weeny willies,
just every size of penis you can imagine, all around. And then we go into this cave, so many penises, and then an altar. So there was an altar to the god Shiva, and all of these phallic carvings are like given as offerings, like they're to worship the god.
Oh, okay.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I was a bit confused, but it reminded me of that because, you know,
it's still present
the phallus is seen as like the symbol of worship. Just like back in the Roman times, it was seen as like a sign of fertility. It would help the crops grow.
Yeah.
And it was almost like this protector against evil, which I just find crazy. And it's really funny to think that when something is like used as porn, it suddenly becomes really dirty, or it becomes really like frowned upon, like, oh no, like that's inappropriate. But when that body part, because that's essentially what it is, a body part is used
in another context.
Like in another context, it's seen as something beautiful, like a sign of fertility, or it's seen as like a protector. And I just found that really interesting to think about, like the difference between how we view the same thing based on almost like the context behind the situation, if that makes sense what I'm trying to say.
I think that's interesting as well.
But back to the history of the nude. The nude kind of died out with the rise of Christianity, especially in the West, because obviously it was started to be seen as inappropriate, and it was culture became more conservative. Body parts were hidden, should we say? But censored. But with the Renaissance, a lot of artists brought back the nude. For example, famously, Michelangelo's David, the big statue, a nude statue of David, and that is so famous. And in the Renaissance, especially the Italian Renaissance, Venus, the Roman goddess, was actually used as like inspiration for so much art. For example, you've got like the Birth of Venus, which is a early Italian Renaissance painting by Sandro Botticelli. There's also Venus Rising, which was a neoclassical artwork from 1890 by Jean-Léon Gérôme. I hope I'm pronouncing these names correctly, by the way. And of course, then Sleeping Venus as well, which was a high Renaissance painting by Georgie. Again, if I have pronounced any of these names wrong, I do apologise. But all of these were paintings of Venus, and in a lot of these, again, she's in that like that pudica pose, which we will talk about in the next part of this pod. We'll sort of get into the social perspective on how women's and men's bodies were viewed differently. But just for now, I think it's interesting to remember that a lot of the time she was painted covering up the like main nude areas of her body,
whereas the men were there standing proud, phallus on show, phallus extension,
or just phallus,
just willy on its
just
own,
willy on its own,
just willy on its own,
just penis.
But what is interesting now that we're going on to the social perspective is how the men and the women are depicted differently.
100%.
Definitely. So like the male nude obviously demonstrating control, strength, moral integrity, and the female nude implying like passivity or beauty or
like sexual availability, for example.
Exactly. It's like more sexualized.
It's very interesting. Like the male nude so often is to do with control, power, action, heroism. And the female nude is often to kind of like objectify the woman or to, it almost, from the pudica pose, you could kind of interpret that as, even though we are showing the female form nude,
we're not actually,
it's too intimate or it's like
censored again.
It should be censored in a sense. So that in itself is like interesting, just the way that they're portrayed so differently, and how, like Georgie said, like men were depicted in their full nude form, women were still censored, still slightly covered, still still more modest,
and the focus being beauty rather
opposed
than
to like
power
and strength.
Interesting. But if nudes have been around for so long, then why are they still viewed as shameful? Is another question. Some of us might separate art from pornography, and I think we all kind of do that naturally.
Yeah, even if it's like unconscious. I think we definitely, if we were going to an art museum, for example, and saw a nude painting on the wall, we'd probably admire it. We'd think, oh, that's a really cool technique that artists used, or oh, look at, you know, the different colours or the tones, or, you know, the techniques and stuff. You wouldn't necessarily think anything
my God,
inappropriate.
There's a badge on the wall,
Whereas if you saw a photograph, for example, of a naked person, you'd think, oh, I shouldn't be looking at that. That's a bit personal. And this is actually very true. I found this quite true in myself, because when I've been to art galleries and I've gone into the like sort of more historical section and I've seen like these like big nude paintings on the wall, I thought, oh, that's such a cool painting. Like, I don't really think too much of it. And then I've gone into photography sections, for example, where there's nude photography on the walls, which again is still an art form. And in myself, I found it slightly more uncomfortable to look at, because I'm thinking, oh, that's a bit more like in depth or intimate, and I think that is literally society Like, we're all sort of like victims of the societies we're raised in, right? And I think it made me think to myself, why do I feel so uncomfortable looking at this photo of someone who's nude versus this painting of someone who's nude?
And I think it's interesting to think about what society depicts as vulgar.
Yes,
and as
definitely.
As not vulgar, basically.
And like, what is too much?
Yeah, what should be censored,
if you're covering your nipples, then it's okay to have a picture of your boobs. If your nipples are out, then that's completely inappropriate.
Yeah.
Like, it's really interesting to see what society views as vulgar, like you said. Like,
and I think you can also look at the reasoning behind the photos were taken as well. Like, if it's
definitely
a reasoning to display this beautiful woman, or if the reasoning is for sexual gratification purposes, you know, so like falling into the class of erotica, etc. So it's different if the reasonings behind the painting, it's all about the context.
I think it's because there's more of a stigma around, like, or there's more of a stigma around, or more of a taboo around talking about if something's giving you sexual gratification, right? Like, if you're looking at something on the wall, like a photo of someone nude, and you're thinking, that's turning me on,
that's doing something for me,
versus what a lovely painting, look at the techniques, like, it's very different. But in reality, like, we're only human. Like, if you're gonna get turned on by a new person, then I mean, like, get turned on. But saying that out loud is seen as so wrong, and there's a massive taboo around it, and a massive stigma, and it's really interesting you raised that point.
Speaking on, you know, nudes as an art form, I actually did a 6-week life drawing class.
Oh my god.
And it was amazing. It was like
Where
a course.
did you do it?
So I did it at the uni, but actually our school set it up.
No way. Our school? Oh my god.
So for 3 hours every week for 6 weeks, I was drawing someone nude, and there was a live model there as well.
Crazy.
And she came in, and the first couple minutes on the first session, I was like,
naked
this is
person.
Really,
was it a woman? Sorry,
really,
did you say?
It was a woman. Yeah. So it was. Oh, this is really crazy.
That's a naked lady.
But the stigma around it just completely left after that. Like, the first like 30 seconds of giggles, and then after that, like, it was fine. And I think as well the model owned it so well.
Yeah.
Like, she stood so proud up there with her bush on display. Like, she had hair.
Crazy.
And some weeks she would like shave it into like a little landing strip. And I'm like, oh, look at you doing fun things with your pubes. But it was nice because it gave us like, and we used to use different mediums as well. So we'd do charcoal, we'd do obviously pencil and painting, and then different kinds of paper as well. It was really, really cool. And she would do these poses, and she would literally stand for an hour, 2 hours, the whole thing with no breaks.
That's crazy to me.
I know.
Hats off to her, honestly.
With her arms up. Sometimes she used to cock her leg up so we could get more of a bush angle. And she would come round at the end of class and have a little look at all of our paintings. And she said, oh, that's really interesting that you picked up on that scar.
Yeah.
Or that birthmark, and I love how you painted me there. She was not insecure in the slightest, and she wasn't...
So confident.
She was so confident, and she said to me at the end of the course, she was like, if you want, I can get you involved in being a model.
Oh my gosh.
I would love to be a model, guys.
I'd be a nude model.
Yeah, it's like just for the confidence boost. I wonder what the pay's like.
I'm sure it's got to be pretty good.
Yeah, but like, how do you price your body? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's got to be pretty good pay, right?
Yeah.
I feel like...
That's a whole conversation.
It sounds so strange, but I feel like being a nude model would be really empowering.
Really, really empowering.
And also because you know that you're there for art and to be observed and to be studied. And I think this just links back to what we said about the whole, like, how do we differentiate between art and pornography? How do we decide what needs to be censored and what doesn't need to be censored? It just links back to that. It's so interesting.
And I think it was it was just such a beautiful experience, and I'm really grateful that I've had that experience.
I low-key want to do this.
Yeah.
I want to do a live drawing.
I think they do them at Bournemouth Uni. Yeah.
Right.
Well, guys, if anyone wants to paint me nude, then I'll send you the link. I'll send you the link to the class.
Have a little Titanic moment. Oh, I want a Titanic moment.
I want a Titanic moment.
Yeah.
Without the love story.
Just the painting.
Just the nude paintings.
So, in a more like modern context, slightly stepping away from the nude as an art form, it's almost kind of getting back to the whole Snapchat dick pic situation.
Dick pics.
Obviously, there is so much shame around sending a nude.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is especially true for women who send nudes and get their nudes leaked. I feel like there's so much shame behind that is like placed on the woman for sending a nude in the first place. But I think almost like something we could take away from this is that the truth is the problem does not actually lie with the image itself or your naked body. It's the boundaries, consent, and respect.
And what we want to get across is that our bodies themselves, male, female, are nothing to be ashamed of. We're pretty pro-nude. We're pretty pro-nude.
We're pretty pro-nude. I mean, your bodies are beautiful.
Podcast.
If you want to take a nude to feel sexy and you want to like
Empowered.
pose and you want to dress up in something and like feel good about your body, that's great. Go for it. Because like we said, the actual nude itself,
the taking of the nude,
it shouldn't be the issue.
And the sending of the nude is not the issue. It's just all about the consent and the respect.
Boundaries. Yeah. For example, there are so many risks with sending a nude, right? And that I think is where this sort of the issue arises, is with the risks. Obviously, you need to make sure that you can 100% trust the person you're sending a nude to.
So we're going to discuss a bit about boundaries, consent, and respect, because that's where most of the issues come in when it comes to sending nudes. Because everyone's scared that their nudes are going to get leaked, right? And if your nudes do get leaked, do not be embarrassed, because most likely you look amazing in the photo anyway.
You look great,
but it's the person who leaked it that should be ashamed.
100%.
And because it's not on.
No,
it's really not on. And as long as you've agreed with them that they had the consent to receive the nude in the first place, as long as that was all squared away, then you have no problem sending a nude.
You shouldn't be ashamed of the fact that you sent it.
No.
And I guess that sort of comes into like fear of trying to seek help afterwards, because if you've consensually sent somebody a nude, or you've been sending nudes with somebody consensually, and they decide to show it to their mates or leak it on the internet, I feel like people feel so ashamed that they sent it, and they think, oh, well, I can't get help because it's my fault. And you might blame yourself, or other people may blame you and say, well, you shouldn't really have sent it. But no, don't be ashamed to ask for help. There are so many services out there that can help you, which we'll talk about in a bit. But like Georgie said, you probably look fabulous,
in the photo,
so don't worry about it. And just remember that the person who leaked it is the problem.
Yeah, and you are protected as well. There's laws protecting you when it comes to all of that stuff, which we will go on to in a second. But I also just wanted to talk a little bit about peer pressure, because how many times have we been in conversations with boys over Snapchat, surprise, and they're like, oh,
send me a cheeky pic.
Like, oh, are you getting in the shower? Like, let me see.
And you sort of think to yourself, like,
should
I? Do I? I don't know. Like, you might feel nervous about it.
But don't do it. If it doesn't feel right, you don't know the person very well, especially if you haven't never met this person before as well. I think that is something to remember.
So common for people. I mean, I've experienced it when I was younger. Guys sort of saying to me, like guys I've never met, guys who simply have me on Snapchat saying like, oh, go on then, like, just send me a pic, or, oh, do you want to play truth or dare? I've had so many guys when I was literally like 14, like, do you want to play truth or dare? Like, you know, do you want to send some pics? And it's like, and you kind of think like, oh, should I?
Should I not?
Do I don't know. Like, will this guy, like, you start to think like, maybe if you fancy someone, you think, oh my God, they're not going to fancy me if I don't. Or, oh, like, maybe someone will think less of me if I don't, or I'm not like good enough or sexy enough if I don't, because there's probably people out there who are doing this. And
just don't give in to the peer pressure, because it's not worth it. It's your body at the end of the day. It's your choice. And if you have sent a nude to someone that you think maybe you shouldn't have, don't feel ashamed, because we've all done it. Do you know what? We've all done it. We've all done it.
So I think the most important thing to think about when it comes to sending or receiving nudes is consent. For example, we've spoken so much about like, do what you want with your body and don't be ashamed if it gets leaked. But also, like Georgie said, unsolicited dick pics or unsolicited booby pics or vagina pics, whatever you're
pics.
Sending. If someone's not asked for that picture, don't send it as well, because that is like sexual abuse. And I mean, I remember when I think I was probably 12 years old, I just got Instagram, and my parents had sort of been like a bit iffy about letting me have it, and they sort of like, you know, told me all of like, you're not allowed to post your face, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that. And I remember I was so excited that I was allowed Instagram, and I went into my DMs, and some random guy, never met in my life, pretty sure he was an adult, has just sent me out of the blue a picture of his penis. And I remember my heart sank. I was so worried. I was so scared because I'd never seen a penis before. I didn't want to see one. And also I was thinking, like, I'm going to get in trouble. Like, this is why someone sent me this. Like, I'm going to get in so much trouble. And to be honest, at the time I was thinking, I'm going to have Instagram taken away from me. No.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I was so scared that I was going to get in trouble for that. So don't be sending nudes to people without their consent.
Guys.
It's not on, guys.
And it is
it's
a
not
form
on.
Of sexual abuse and harassment.
I also do know some guys who, when we were younger, would just send random photos of girls, and girls would send pictures of them in the bath to guys, and like these young boys I'd be friends with would literally be like, I didn't want that. Like, what's going on? So, girl or boy, don't be sending pictures unless you've both consented to the situation and like the whole interaction.
And so I think I want to talk about my personal experience with having my nudes leaked. So I was 13, I was in year 8, and someone that was my friend at the time took a photo of me getting changed in a changing room, and I had my underwear and my bra on, but my bra was... So I was like 13. I had no boobies, right? My rack hadn't come in yet, but my bra was a bit big for me. So there wasn't actually any nipple on show, but there was quite a lot of boob on show because the bra was too big. And she took that photo and sent it to a boy on Snapchat, who then screenshotted it and shared it with all of the whole school, basically.
That's appalling.
Yeah. And I didn't even realise at the time that she had done that and sent it, and it'd been screenshotted. And I actually got on the school bus the next day, and everyone was like, oh, I've seen your nudes. And it was like 6 a.m. I was getting the school bus. I was like, what do you mean? And like my heart is palpitating. I'm like looking around, what? And then someone shows me this photo that my friend took of me, which I didn't even know she'd sent to a boy. I thought it was a funny, jokey photo, whatever. And she sent it to a boy. It got screenshotted and it was shared around the school.
Just nasty.
Nasty. That, really, really horrible. And I can't quite believe that happened to me, to be honest.
How did that like kind of affect like your mental health at the time? Because I can imagine, especially for like a young child, for anyone, but also you were so young, like how did that actually like affect your like self-esteem and like everything?
So obviously then all of the boys at school were calling me a slut and saying I was like ran through and I was really slutty, but I didn't even take the photo.
No,
like the photo was taken of me. So then I was obviously getting bullied incessantly and shown that picture in every single classroom. I'm like, haha, I've got your nude, haha. And my mental health just went completely downhill. I was being bullied every day. I didn't want to go to school. I was misbehaving at home and at school because I was in such a bad place mentally. And I never, ever reached out. I never told anyone. I didn't tell my parents. They still probably don't know. The only person I told was my therapist, because I had to leave that school because I was getting bullied so much.
Horrible.
And I was getting so depressed that I had to leave that school. And everyone kind of blamed me for being misbehaved or not getting good grades, and it's because I was skipping classes. I was going to the bathroom during my classes so I didn't have to be in the same classroom as a few of these boys that had the photo, that were taunting me, and it just made school a really, really miserable place for me, to the point where I had to leave that school because I was getting bullied, and I never ever reached out. I never told a teacher, never told my parents. I just let them blame me for getting bad grades and being misbehaved because I couldn't admit to it because it was so embarrassing. And so that was my experience of getting my nude leaked.
I think that's why it's so important to understand that it's not your fault, and whilst it's embarrassing, it is completely the fault of the person who's leaked that photo, whether or not you have sent it to them or it's been taken of you. Regardless, that photo should go no further than the receiver or the person who's they shouldn't really be taking photos of you without your consent anyway. But that's why it's so important to know that it's not your fault, so that you reach out and you get help, so that you know that there is help available for you, that you're protected. And also just so that you can talk to people about why you're feeling so down and so upset. Just remember, don't be ashamed, seek help. Honestly, just love yourself, be kind to yourself regardless of what's happened. And just know that there are people out there you can trust and who will give you help if you need it.
And any photo taken of someone under the age of 18 is child porn. So that is obviously a really, really, really big deal, child porn. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the way that I
Yeah.
kind of got through my thing. Like, I was talking to my therapist about it at the time, and she was like, what you've been through is obviously insane and no one should go through that. But these people have child porn on their phone.
And even if you are under the age of 18 yourself and it's on your phone, it's still classed as child pornography.
It's not,
it doesn't make a difference whether you're an adult or a child with that on your phone. It's still
a huge
pretty serious.
Yeah. And there's laws protecting you as well. So obviously the child porn law that we just kind of spoke about, as well as like the revenge porn and the videoing sex and things like that, which we go on to talk about now, to be honest.
Yeah, now. So we'll get into like the legal and safety considerations. Obviously, we've already spoken about like consent and boundaries, not letting people overstep your boundaries. But there are laws around sexting and sharing nudes. The age of consent for nudes in the UK is 18, even though the age of consent for sex is 16. Still 18 for nudes. Obviously, oh my gosh, we didn't speak about deep fakes. Just quickly, I'll mention it here. Yeah. That freaks me out. Yeah. Like, the idea of your face, like AI putting your face onto someone else's body, that freaks me out. Like,
in a sexual context as well.
Oh my gosh.
In any context, deep fakes are crazy, but like especially sexual ones. So just some key takeaways and advice from this episode, because I feel like we've talked about so much in this episode. You can obviously see. Always think before you send. Make sure you know exactly where it's going. Just because there are risks. There are risks. And it is really fun. You know, exchanging nudes, sending nudes are really fun. Like, we're pro-nude here on the Clitical Thinking Podcast.
Very pro-nude.
But always think before you send and understand the risks. And keep an open communication with the person you're sending or receiving from. And just let them know what's okay and what's not okay.
Yeah, definitely. Also know that you can contact police if someone leaks your picture. You can get help for intimate image abuse. And you can also say, for example, your picture got popped on social media. You can report it to the social media site.
They're pretty good at getting those taken down.
They're pretty good at getting them taken down pretty swiftly. And the UK Safer Internet Centre, this is for children specifically. The Cyber Helpline, these are all websites you can visit if your nude has been leaked. Stop NCII helps remove intimate images off of the internet. So you can contact them.
Yeah, very good guys to know.
There's also the Revenge Porn Helpline, and this is for over 18s. But yeah, so if you are a victim of revenge porn, you can contact the Revenge Porn Helpline. And if you're under the age of 19 or any age up to 19, you can also contact Childline.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in on today's episode of the Clitical Thinking Podcast, talking all things nude.
Of course, as usual, all of our websites that we've mentioned, helplines, and of course our sources will be linked down in the description box below.
We're here every Monday on Spotify and YouTube, but we can't wait to see you there. And
it's okay.
It's like fucking bringing it back. Like,
you're actually stressing.
Yeah, like it's actually like.
You don't know.
Yeah, that's like so. I didn't realise that actually how much it affected me.
It's alright. It's bound to affect you. It's horrible.
It's also like really sad that like I just felt like I couldn't reach out and tell anyone.
I know.
And like just everyone blamed me for like being really badly behaved and like not doing well at school, and it's because I was skipping all my classes and stuff because I didn't want to go to classes with certain boys and everything. So my grades were like really shit.
Yeah. But that's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Think about other people who've had that happen, and like you're using your pain to help other people and talk about it. But you're bound to feel upset about it, obviously.
I was so young. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to lock the fuck in.
Well, we can talk about it whenever you want, but yeah.
Okay.
She's shit.
Yeah,
she's
a
so
really
shit.
shit friend.
Yeah.
Really, really shit friend.
It's alright, babes. Love you.
Love you.
I'm sure you looked great.
I was 13.
Well,
as I said, I'm sure I look great. Okay, anyway.